to be annoying.
Yes, exactly.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Jen asked me, "You want to work Wednesday before Thanksgiving?" I'm like, "I'm not going anywhere." "Yes, why not?" Me too. I get to see you. I think around the holidays, it's a good idea to keep your practice going. Especially if you're traveling or getting stressed about cooking, or you're a little anxious about being around family members. So, and I know this can also be a sad time for some people as well. There tends to be a lot of losses that tend to occur around the holidays, or, you know, people lose someone and it may be the first holiday or the second holiday where it's still fresh that you're not together. So there can be some emotions that come up with this. We focused Monday on the pain body. We did a more active practice, but we focused on the pain body that Eckhart Tolle talks about in a book called A New Earth, and how the pain body is something that we all carry around, and it's the unprocessed, imprinted emotions from our past. And he's saying, since all of us can get our buttons pushed and triggered with those things, we have to remember to be really in the state of yoga and to allow the light of our awareness to shine on whatever feelings are coming up, and not thinking that we have to run away with it all the time. Because thoughts can fuel emotion, and emotion can turn around and fuel more thoughts. And so if we could come back to our breath and drop out of our head and back into our heart, we'll be in a better place to receive whatever is happening, and to be able to express our feelings without lashing out, you know, at anyone in particular. So we're moving into, I wanted to stick with the New Earth. However, I couldn't help but notice I keep being bombarded with flames and roses, flames and roses. So we're going with flames and roses today. I feel like when there's synchronicities and things keep showing up, the message is either for me or for you. And so I pay attention, and I'm like, that's what we're going with today. So we will meditate with a candle at the end, and we're going to meditate fairly in the beginning upon a rose. So roses kept coming up, and when I went to the grocery store the other day, it was packed full of people. Luckily, I didn't have to get many items, but I walked in right at the flower section, and the roses caught my eye, and they keep coming up. So I'm like, oh, we need a centerpiece for the holiday. So I bought some red roses, and we need that pop of color in the house. It was just beautiful. And I realized the flames and roses kept coming up, but what I didn't realize until I put the vase back on the table, there's a candle right at the center of the table as well. So it's like flames and roses yet again. All the astrological stuff that I've been reading and researching about what we're in now and where we're going with the solar eclipse, that actually is going to be next weekend. It's saying the sun and Mercury are moving from Scorpio. We were talking about Scorpio energy Monday and built up to the fancy scorpion pose. That was really intense energy the last month or so. And I feel like it's finally lightened up a little bit. Hopefully you feel like that's lightened up for you as well. But the sun and Mercury moved out of Scorpio into Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a fire sign, more flames, but it's also a mutable sign. So with it being mutable, this is an energy that's supportive of us being adaptable. And it's a supportive energy that's going to help us be in the energy that's like rising from the ashes. So they're saying with the solar eclipse that's coming in, it's the culmination or the ending of a really dark cycle that we've been in. Do you think we've been in a dark cycle? It feels so dark. But they're saying this is the culmination, like this is the end of it being like so massive, and that this new supportive energy is going to be like the phoenix rising from the ashes. You know about the phoenix, that mythical bird that just burns into ashes and then it's reborn. There's a rebirthing, and that's really cool. I'll get into this closer to the new year, but Pluto is having its return in the natal chart of the United States of America in February. And it hasn't happened since the Declaration of Independence was signed. So look for 2022 to 2024 being another American Revolution. And so with that being said, we'll talk about it more at the beginning of the year. This is about realizing what's not working anymore and trying to let go of the things that just aren't working, whether it's government or structures or institutions or businesses. And then there's going to be this revamping and these solutions coming in that's going to help us to build up something new and better. So that's the light of hope that the solar eclipse in Sagittarius also represents. The symbol of that is like an archer. And so it's saying, think about where you want to aim your attention, where you want to aim your passion, where you want to aim your goals. And consider that, because with this energy coming in, it's about manifestations. There's something called the great attractor that it's conjunct with. And the great attractor is said to amplify the law of attraction. So that's good news. So let's go ahead and begin. We're going to begin with some movement, and then we're going to take a restorative pose and meditate on the ropes. Okay, so let's just sit upright for a moment with your hands resting on your lap. Close the lids of the eyes. Take a moment just to feel the ground under your feet. And the ground or any props under your seat. Visualize that there's roots coming down from your sits bones, moving down below the surface of this flooring, the foundation of this building, getting embedded into the soil. Here in Tennessee, we have this saying of rocky top because there's so much stone in the ground. So imagine that as you go deeper with your roots, you're starting to lodge and wrap and intertwine your roots around a large stone. And once this creates a grounding line for you, begin to grow a little taller through the shaft of the spine. Imagining the trunk of your body is like a trunk of a tree. The crown of the head lifting up towards the heavens. And then begin to interact with your breath. Feeling the breath pull in and pour out. And then instead of just watching the breath, begin to control the breath. So you're taking in a little bit more air with each one. Practice diaphragmatic breathing so that it's helping to calm your mind, your nervous system, and bringing some relaxation, even in the midst of the effort to maintain this good posture. Two more breaths. Hopefully this is connecting you more, not only to your body, but to your higher self. And then crack the lids of the eyes open. You're going to extend your arms to your sides with your palms open. You're going to curl the fingertips in to touch the top of the shoulders. As we inhale, we're going to send the chest forward and the head back. And as we exhale, the arms are going to draw together. We pull the navel in, then hide the heart away, bowing the head. Inhale, it's like a little cow tilt. As you come up, the wings of the arms roll back with the head. And then the exhale, draw it together and round the upper back. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, ballooning through the chest. And then exhale, contracting your core. Do 1 more. And then inhale, come back up to the top. Take the arms up overhead, lace your fingers together, and then roll the palms to face the ceiling. And just sit here, growing the stem of the spine long, the sides of the body long, the arms long, and then exhale, curve to your left side. And curve to the left side, stay grounded in your seat, as though your roots were still intertwined around that large stone underground. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. And then on your next in-breath, rise back to the top. Exhale, curve to the other side. This helps to break up some tension that gets housed around the lungs, that creates a shallow breath. So explore opening the breath, making it deep and wide. When we have a deeper breath, we help to purify the lungs. Inhale, rise up to the top, and then exhale, circle the arms around you. All right, we're going to shift into a restorative position, and I'm going to give you a little meditation while you're here. Your first block is on the back side of the mat on its tall form. And the second block is going to line up a few inches in front of it on its medium form. Almost looking like a T, a capital T. And then we're going to take the back to roll over the first one, and the head is going to be propped by the taller one. Your arms can fan out like your feet can fan out. Palms spun open. Eyelids gently closed. So settle into a restful state here with your body. Feeling how the block is opening the cavity of your chest. Let the weight of the head go and let your neck feel supported. And know that any back bend, whether passive or active, is going to help to naturally improve our posture, as well as be helpful for our internal organs. I would ask that you take 3 full breaths. And then after your 3 full breaths, your breath can flow more naturally. And you can either gaze in and up towards your mind's eye, or you can drop your gaze down into your heart. Oftentimes when we meditate upon a flower, we typically bring in the lotus, because the lotus was really revered in the East for being symbolic of spiritual transformation, how we evolve in life. And the chakras that we talk about a lot in yoga are symbolized by a lotus. But today, I want us to meditate on a rose. A rose that is regarded as a symbol of love, or as a symbol of the soul. I want you to first imagine in your mind's eye, in the realm of your imagination, that standing in front of you is a big rose bush. The rose bush that has its roots going down into the soil, like we were picturing before. And on the rose bush, there's many flowers at different stages. There's some roses that are in full bloom. And there's others wrapped up in a tight bud. Try to fixate your gaze upon one of the buds that's wrapped up in all of its greenery. But at the tip, the very top, you see a pop of color. With each breath that you take, imagine that the greenery is slowly opening, shedding, and revealing more of the rose-colored petals. Even though they were closed at first, they're slowly opening, petal by petal. As they continue to unfold, imagine its fragrance entering your nose through your sense of smell. Notice the warm, inviting texture or how the petals feel. Soft, like velvet. Imagine the sun shining its rays upon the rose, making it shimmer and shine in the light. Can you identify with this rose? Can you try to become the essence of the rose? Even with the imperfections of its perfection. Be aware of the life force emanating from the rose. Let it awaken you from the inside. Because the same life force is radiating from you. Offer this rose appreciation. And notice if you receive any messages or wisdom from the rose. Bring this rose into the idea of the energy, the universal energy that I was just mentioning. If you've been leaning or lurking inside of your shadow, if you have felt like you were going through the dark night of the soul, it's like you were closed up into a bud. Now it's time to bloom. I want to share with you one of my favorite quotes from Agnes Nin. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk that it took to blossom. Just as a rose expands, let your inner light and love continue to expand. Now, on your next in-breath, bring your hands to rest down beside you on the mat. Slowly peel the head off the top block. Use your arm strength and core strength to come up. And we're going to take one of those blocks to the side. We're going to take another block just away. Doesn't need to be next to you. Then we're going to come back down to do our spines, except we're going to bend the knees. We are going to do a little movement here. So ground your heels up underneath your bent knees and have the arms resting beside you. On your in-breath, we're going to come to a bridge. So we're circling the arms overhead. We're tucking the tailbone and lifting thighs, hips, abs, and chest. And then as we exhale, the arms circle back around and we lower one vertebra at a time. Now, inhale, press the feet, tuck the tailbone. As the hips elevate, circle the arms overhead. See if you can land the hands at the same time to get your pelvis to the highest degree possible. And as you exhale, swim the arms back around and let your hands land with your low back. Continue this process. Inhale, opening the front of the body. And then exhale, releasing back down. We're going to do one more. Now, this time, once you land down, you're going to grab that block next to you. You're going to come back to bridge, but your hands are going to place the block under your low back. And once you're able to sit on top of the block, your arms can then fan out to the sides. So again, we're resting on the prop so we can restore. Rest, restore, and replenish. So the blocks before were really opening up the upper part of the back. Now we're emphasizing more of the low and mid back. Breathe in a diaphragmatic way so the belly rises on the inhale and retracts on the exhale. (2022) is said to be a bridge from what we've known to creating something new. And the breath is said to be the bridge between the mind and the body, or the head to the heart. The Ananda affirmation, if you want to include it, you can affirm mentally within. I offer every thought as a bridge to divine grace. I offer every thought as a bridge to divine grace. Follow your breath, 7 more rounds. You can always go back into picturing the rosebud opening and folding, blooming. On your next inhalation, we're going to carry the right leg skyward. And we're going to point the toes, coming into this variation of elephant pose. Now continue to point the toes upward. Feel that stretch in front of the foot, ankle, shin, a little tightening of the knee, contraction of the quads. We're going to open the hip a little bit. So take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, circle that leg off to the right, not very far. Dip it down towards the floor. Circle it back in and bring it right back to the top. Exhale, circle it down and around. And then inhale to the top. Let's do one more. This time when the foot's floating up, you're going to flex through the ankle. Push up through your heel, spread open through your toes, and activate the back of the leg, from the ankle to the calf muscles to the hamstring. And then gently lower that foot. Close the eyes for brevity of time. Feel that energy that you've awakened on the right leg. Let it disperse, let it absorb. And then let's bring some more vitality to the left side. So inhale, extend your left leg up, point the toes. We'll have some activation in the back of the leg, but I really want you to feel it on the front side. Now we'll flow with our breath. On your next exhalation, circle the left leg off to the left side. Swoop it down towards your mat and then inhale to the top. Exhale takes it down and around. Inhale back up. Just going to do 3 today. Once you come back to elephant, flex the foot. Pump up that heel blade to the toe. Tensing and releasing the muscles are a great way to detoxify the muscles, to bring fresh blood flow in with its nutrients. Send your left foot back to the ground. Return into bridge. Feel that tingly coolness, or however the sensation shows up in your body. And then we're going to push through the feet, tuck and lift the tailbone away from the block, and then roll it back down. Hug your knees into your belly and chest, Apanasana. So if you get overstuffed tomorrow, we tend to do that, right? We tend to have a whole feast of a meal and all those great sweets. And then we can't have stay awake in the afternoon. So if you find that you need a little assistance with your digestion tomorrow, remember this pose. It's going to help get rid of some of the bloating. And then we're going to go into a spinal twist. And twist really help digestion. So go ahead and fan your arms open to the side. Let your knees roll to your left.
And then check in and see if you need to make it more restorative. For instance, if your thighs and knees don't touch, you may want to slip a blanket, a bolster, or a block in between. If you find that the knees descending to the floor is really pulling on your low back, you can prop a block under your knees to keep them elevated. Feel free to close the eyes. And perhaps following the wave of the breath up and down the right side body. It's up to you whether or not you want to turn your head to include the twist in the cervical area of the spine. When I was younger, I always turned my head, and lately I feel like just keeping it neutral. So listen to your own inner voice. Pay attention to the messages received from your body. You hold the wisdom within. Three more breaths. And group three, kind of grip in your belly so that you can roll the knees to center. Hug them back into Apanasana. And then fan the arms back and begin to roll the knees to the right side. Each side's going to be a little different. If you have the gap here, you don't have to plug anything in between your thighs. You may enjoy that stretch in that muscle that's wound up too tight. You may enjoy opening up that connective tissue of the fascia that overlays the muscle. Or you may need to take it easy. You need to take it easy, stack something in between or under the knees. Determine whether or not you want to turn your head. Focus on the ripple effect of the breath coming up and down your left side body. affirming mentally within, opening myself up to a new flow of abundance and energy within. Opening myself up to a new flow of abundance and energy within. Gently going to roll over to the right side body, then lots more space for the physical heart. Push down into your left hand and slowly. All right, so we're going to use 2 blocks. And we're going to stack them under the hands while we're resting on our knees and shins. We're going to do one more active pose. We're going to restore. We're kind of doing a blend today. We're going to step the right foot forward and then take the lunge in the knee. Make sure it stays stacked with precision over the ankle, if not scoop the foot up. And you should feel the hips kind of dropping and sinking down, okay? Now, if you push and pressurize through your right foot, you're going to find that you start to back away from the hips naturally. So anchor your foot and the back shin, come up to higher ground, and reach the arms up alongside the face. So you're coming into a half lunge. Find your foundation, secure your balance, and look at something steady with your eyes. All right, this is a balancing pose. So bring the arms down in front of you. We're going to do the archer's pose. Curl the fingers in, and you're pulling back just on your left shoulder, like you're pulling a bow, and place the thumb to the top of the head. Now you're gazing towards your right thumb now. And when you're gazing towards your right thumb now, you're slowly going to twist open to the right. Follow your hand with your eyes. This is a version of archer's pose. Affirm mentally within. I am focused on sending my love and light out into the world. As you exhale, unwind. Now sink the hips again, place the hands back to the blocks, and then bring the right knee back. I meant to mention if you needed more padding to put the blanket under your knees, so you can do that if you need it. And then when you're ready, stepping the left foot forward. Again, dropping and sinking through the hips initially, because we're gonna stretch out that psoas. But then we're gonna get active, pressing through the foundation, lifting up to the pelvic floor, rising up to erect the spine, fingertips shining up towards the sunlight. Set your gaze on one point, and then bring the arms down in front. Curl the fingers in, draw the bow back with your right arm, thumb to the top of the head. Gaze at your left thumb now, that's your new drishti point, and spin to your left. I am focused on sending my love and light out into the world. That's what the world needs more than anything right now. Gently unwind. Sink back through the hips. Take your hands to your blocks and then back away. All right, we are ready to take our next position. So we're going to stick with the blocks. We're going to lower to our backs. Now, if you want to begin, you don't even have to put blocks under your knees. You can just hang up here. But if that doesn't feel good to the hip joints, that's why the blocks are here, to make it restorative. And then you can just stuff them underneath your thighs. Remember, the blocks can turn different directions for different thicknesses for various types of support. And again, if you just want to hang out and let gravity open you up, do that as well.
So taking this reclined butterfly position. So earlier when we were focused on the rose, we were opening up different areas of the back. But opening the hips is like opening up the petals as well. The day came when the risk to remain tight and bud was more painful than the risk that it took to blossom. Rest, repair, replenish. Let go of muscular activity. So check in to make sure there's no gripping or contracting, belly or the back. Soften your inner and outer thighs. Relax your buttocks. More breaths.
do those 3. Close the knees back up. Draw the knees in. Our Finasana. You may want to move that block to your right out of the right way because we're going to roll to the right side and prepare for our last position. Once you come up, we're going to do what's called Stonehenge. We're going to use all these props that we gathered. The 2 blocks creating the columns. The bolster on top. And scoot up a little closer, stack the legs. And your hands can rest on your belly. If you need, well, keep it on your belly. I would ask that. So this should feel nice to the back area. This is a way we create it with our props. It's also nice to do propping the legs up onto the sofa or on the seat of a chair. Something I highly recommend if you've been having to stand for hours and hours at a time, or stand in long lines, or if you've been walking the streets of a city. Takes the load off. Helps to provide a little bit more space and lengthening for the low back. It brings the legs up higher than the heart, which is good for the heart and good for our circulation. With your hands resting on your belly, we didn't really do a lot of core work today with this being gentle and restorative, but we often talk about igniting or rekindling the flames in the fire pit of the belly. The digestive fire that breaks down not only our food, but helps to process our experiences in life. So imagine the flames here in your core building, growing brightly. This is the fire that fuels us and motivates us. Gives us momentum, gives us drive. Helps us to move towards our passion. But now I want you to feel just the movement here beneath your hands. The warm exchange between your hands and your belly. And then slide your left hand up over your chest, towards your heart. Feel that same lifting and dissension. This region. The light, the flame is different at the heart. This is the highest electromagnetic field that the body emits. The light that we see shimmering from someone's eyes stems from the state of their heart. The heart that's entrenched and whose foundation is love. There's another thing happening astrologically. The Sun and Mercury are crossing into Sagittarius over an asteroid called Vestas. And this asteroid Vestas is said to have a goddess type energy that represents the eternal flame of light that you can never let go of.
This is often called a sacred flame. This is similar to the light of your soul regarding your spiritual purpose and destination. Be in silence and hold the sacred flame in your heart. I want you to imagine that you are in a very dark space. A room that maybe has no windows, or if there are windows, it has blackout curtains. This represents also being as closed as a bud. But yet, if you just had one candle lit, one flashlight or nightlight on, it would illuminate the room enough so that you could see form. And it just has to be a tiny amount of light. We're going to continue our practice, and we're going to illuminate ourselves from the inside out. So if you would, take a few deeper sips of breath. Gently draw the knees in towards your upper body. Wrap your arms around with metta, loving kindness towards yourself. Gently roll over to one side of your body. And you're going to set yourself up like this, where you're going to be sitting on your bolster. Your blocks are stacked in front of you. And you're going to put your tea light candle here. Ever since the Flames and Roses keeps coming up, I keep hearing Jim Morrison. So I'm gonna light your candle for you. I think there's a Buddhist saying that says, you know, one candle can light up 1,000 more. And that's what we need to remember during these kind of what feels like dark times, challenging times. Sometimes it just takes one person, one leader, one piece of inspiration. Right? Think of a songwriter might just have one thing come to their mind and then it inspires an entire song. So what we're going to do is we're going to meditate with our eyes open. So there are some traditions with meditation, and if you're looking straight down, well, don't move it because it's on fire. Let's just be with it. There is traditions where you keep your eyes open for meditation and you find a drishti point. You have something to look at. And so our drishti point, our focal point, is going to be the light, the flame of the candle. So sit tall and upright and loop the shoulders back and down so that you feel a little bit more open in your chest. And the eyes are half masked. And it's not a staring contest, so blink whenever you need to. But notice the light that's coming from this candle. How it may dance at times. It may look still at times. How it may change colors and hues. Just take it all in. Allow this to represent the sacred flame that's inside your heart. The digestive fire within your belly. Light of awareness in your mind. Take 7 more breaths. eyes a little bit. Picture that flame in your mind's eye. Biblical quote that says, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. Open your eyes. And I like this Hindu practice. The Hindu practice is kind of bringing the light and just kind of waving your hand over the flame and up towards the brow. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I think it's a nice little ritual, ceremonious ritual. Bring your hands to prayer position in your heart. The light and the love within me honors and respectfully bows to the beautiful love and light within each of you. So you want to be very, very cautious with it. Because if you blow it too hard, the wax will come out. So, and you can just leave it or set your blocks to the side. I'll clean that up for you. And you can just roll up your mat and put the other props away.